Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast. Industry leaders share their insights, 5 questions in about 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Let's get right to it. Zachary, who are you and what do you do?
Zach Eikenberry. I am the CEO and co-founder of Hook Security, and we are a new generation of security awareness training built on the latest psychological, educational, and neurological research.
Fascinating. I'm sure you have some wonderful insights. I'm excited to get into those. But let's start with question 2. Why do you love being in cybersecurity?
I love being in cybersecurity because I'm passionate about humans and manipulation online, and how do we recognize and respond to online manipulation. I actually believe in a future in which humans, I'm going to use the word evolve, that we evolve in a way that we can begin to feel through and understand our technology. So we recognize when we're being manipulated and things are not in our best interest online. Right now, that's obfuscated. That is a hard thing for people to see online. And I'm passionate about living in a world and having my kids grow up in a world where they can understand when they interact with everything from phishing to scams to online bullying to catfishing, wherever the manipulation comes, that they're able to recognize it and respond accordingly. And that's where I get super passionate about how our brains understand online manipulation, how our latest psychological and philosophical dispositions give us insight, and how educational methodologies can catch up with where the real cyber threats are today.
That's awesome. I'm super excited to learn more. Let's kick that off into kind of a comment that we hear a lot. Cybersecurity is a top concern. But what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I think cybersecurity is a concern as much as it is a business concern, right? When we talk about business concerns, right, I get to live on the side of the equation, the side of the house, which is all about the people, about the teams. There's a buzzword in our space called where people will say things like security awareness culture or having a culture of awareness, which I think is fair because you do want that culture. You want a set of unspoken rules and principles that your organization lives by when it comes to being secure. And I think when non-cybersecurity, non-technical people speak about cybersecurity and why it's important, they usually mean that the business is not disrupted, that they're saying things like, we want a culture in which people feel, I'm going to use the term psychologically safe. They feel safe to share when there's a threat, when they feel like they've committed an infraction or made the organization more vulnerable. And they create these companies that continue to iterate and evolve so that the company itself is a best place to work. And I live on the side of creating cybersecurity tools that make companies attractive places to work at and for.
No, that's awesome. Take that a little further. And what insights do you want to share with our cyber community?
Yeah, uh, if there's one drum I beat all the time, it's that your security training and your ability to bring along non-technical people in your organization will only go as far as the security team is self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and willing to address things that look very soft. And what I mean by that is there will be people who have trouble communicating their frustrations with the technology side of the house, the technology teams, the cybersecurity teams, however the organization is organized. And I I challenge the security people to not offload that to HR, to not offload that to team managers and say, hey, these are my requirements. This is the compliance hammer. You just got to do it. And to actually begin to empathize with their users, empathize with the people they serve within their organization, bring a level of self-awareness, of emotional intelligence and awareness to that equation. And I do think that the security teams are often the ceiling. They are the cap to the security awareness culture in the organization, not the actual users. So the weakest link is not the end user. The weakest link, if you want to use that term, I'm not a very big fan of the analogy, would be the technical team when it comes to their ability to empathize and understand where their users are.
No, that's super insightful. Let's get to the fun question for you, Zach. What's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
I think I'm going to be boring, and I don't want to be boring. Um, I over this is being filmed or this is being recorded right around the holidays. Over the holidays, we dusted off the Super Nintendo, and man, there's some gem games that are outside of Mario that are on Super Nintendo that I had just forgotten about. And man, I fell back in love with Super Nintendo, and I grew up in a world where, um, GoldenEye was the big game when it first came out when I was in middle school, and so that's probably going to date me a bit, but um, I think right now I'm on a Super Nintendo kick.
That's awesome. It's weird. I brought my Super Nintendo out and played Street Fighter for days.
Yeah, Street Fighter was one of them. And no one's going to know this game. It's the dumbest game. It really is. But there's a game, Animaniacs,
Yep.
and it was addicting for the last week and a half. Absolutely addicting.
Oh, amazing. Zach, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you for watching the Cyber Pro podcast. Please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you following so you can get all the cool new updates.